Your YouTube videos are terrible and don't convert. And the reason it's not working has nothing to do with your consistency, your camera, your editing, or how hard you're trying. And it's also not what most people think it is, because most creators think that if they just post more, improve their quality, or wait long enough, then YouTube will automatically reward them. And that belief alone is what keeps them stuck for years. The uncomfortable truth is that YouTube doesn't reward effort, it rewards alignment. And if your content is misaligned with what people are searching for or what people are looking for, you can upload forever and go nowhere. Most coaches are posting content that technically looks good, sounds good, and even gets views, but it's fundamentally broken at the strategy level, which is why they feel like they're wasting time. They're doing what they've been told to do instead of doing what actually works. And what makes this worse is that YouTube gives you validation just from views to make you keep going. And they do this without ever actually giving you the outcome that you truly want, which is sales, clients, leverage, and authority. You might get a spike here and there where a comment says great video, but none of that compounds. None of it builds momentum, and none of it turns into something that's predictable. And that's because you're treating YouTube like a content platform instead of a strategy. The reason I'm confident saying this is because I've seen the same pattern over and over again over completely different niches. Whether it's business, fitness, finance, or any form of coaching, the surface level execution changes, but the underlying mistakes stay the same. People build their YouTube around what they want to say rather than what the buyer is thinking. They build it around creativity instead of conversion, and then they wonder why nothing sticks. YouTube isn't failing you, your strategy is. And once you understand that, everything changes, because the problem stops being vague and starts becoming solvable. The biggest misconception is that YouTube growth and YouTube monetization is the same thing. They're not. Growth is attention, monetization is trust, timing, and positioning. And most creators accidentally optimize for the wrong one. They chase virality because virality feels like success, but virality without relevance kills authority. They chase consistency because consistency feels productive, but consistency without direction just locks in bad habits. The truth is that most people don't fail on YouTube because they're bad on camera or don't know what they're talking about. They fail because they're playing the wrong game entirely. They're playing the game of content creation rather than demand capture. They're trying to convince people instead of positioning themselves where conviction already exists. And this is the part that usually stings, because it lets go of the idea that effort equals outcome. It means that posting more of the same thing won't automatically get you results. It means that accepting what got you views might be the thing that's preventing you from getting conversions. And that's hard for a lot of people to hear because they've already invested time and effort into this approach. But if you're honest with yourself, if you look at your channel and ask yourself one simple question, which is, does this channel make it obvious who I help, what problem I solve, and why someone should trust me with their money? And most people cannot confidently say yes. And if that question isn't clear to a viewer that just clicked on your page, then it doesn't matter how many videos you upload, you've already lost. YouTube is just brutally honest like that. It doesn't care how passionate you are, how long you've been at it, or how much effort you put in. It only cares if your content matches what people are actively looking for and whether you can hold their attention for long enough to earn their trust. That's it. Everything else is noise. And once you start seeing that, you start to see that YouTube isn't saturated or that people don't want to buy anymore. The problem is that most creators are building channels that are impossible to buy from. There's no clear path, no narrative, no progression, no sense of inevitability, just a collection of videos that are in isolation. And that's why this matters, because if you can fix one thing, not 10 things, just this one shift in how you think about YouTube, the platform stops feeling random and starts feeling controllable. You stop guessing, you stop hoping, you stop relying on luck, and instead you start building something that actually starts compounding over time, where each video makes the next one stronger, where your audience gets sharper instead of broader, and where trust gets built in the background even when you're not posting. But before we get into how to fix it, you need to fully understand what's broken, because if you don't diagnose the problem correctly, you apply the wrong solution and end up right where you were before, which is frustrated, confused, and wondering why everyone else is getting results other than yourself. The next thing you have to understand, which most people misunderstand, is why your videos get views in the first place. And because they don't understand that, they misinterpret the data that they get from YouTube. A view does not mean interest in you. A view means an interest in the idea, the title, the thumbnail, etc. That's it. Someone clicking your video doesn't mean they want a coach. It doesn't mean they want help, and it definitely doesn't mean that they want to buy from you. It simply means for a split second, you aligned with them on something that they were curious about. And this is where most creators get trapped, because they think that viewer is automatically going to turn into a buyer. But views don't equals conversion. Most YouTube viewers are in consumption mode, not decision mode. They're watching to pass time, to feel productive, to feel entertained, or to feel like they're learning without having to do any action. If your content doesn't purposely move them out of consumption mode into reflection mode, then into evaluation mode, and then into decision making mode, nothing happens. They watch, they nod, and then they move on. This is why you can have a video with 50,000 views and not one single sale. The video did its job at the top of funnel, but you didn't do your job by moving them into the different modes. And the reason it failed is because the video wasn't designed to do anything other than get views. Most creators build videos like standalone pieces rather than a part of a journey. Each video exists on its own with its own topic, its own moment, its own lesson, but it has no connective tissue in between them. There is no sense that watching the next video deepens understanding or commitment, so the viewer doesn't feel like it's necessary to stay with you. They take what they learn and they leave, and YouTube is more than happy with that because you still kept them on their platform and it counts that as engagement. But from your perspective, it is the worst case scenario. Another issue is that creators are speaking in a safe tone rather than a decisive tone. They decrease their language, they soften their claims, they say things like this might help or this is just my opinion. And while that sounds polite, you build no authority with the viewer. People don't hire maybes, they don't hire possibilities, they hire certainty. They hire people who have seen this problem 100 times and have helped people do the exact same thing. Certainty creates trust, vagueness creates comfort, but comfort does not convert. And this is where a lot of creators go wrong because they want to be liked by the viewer, but that doesn't do anything for them. All it does is makes them likable, but likability does not create leadership. Conviction does. If your content doesn't sound like it's coming from someone who's already solved the problem, the viewer subconsciously categorizes you as their peer rather than their mentor. And you don't pay peers. You listen to them. You don't book calls with them. All you do is take notes from them, but you definitely don't pay them. Now, I understand all of this may be hard to do, such as scripting the video, editing your videos, titling them, making 3 thumbnails for A/B tests, which is why I made a 5-minute video breaking down our full done for you YouTube offer. We've worked with some of the biggest names in the online space, people with millions of followers that make hundreds of thousands of dollars per month. If you want to watch that 5-minute video, check the link in the description below. Another issue is that creators are afraid to narrow the conversation because they think that narrowing their conversation will reduce their reach. But in reality, narrowing it increases relevance. When you speak to everyone, no one feels personally addressed. Whereas when you speak to one person, when that person clicks on your video, they're going to feel like you're speaking to them one-on-one. And that's how you build authority, you build conviction, and you actually convert a viewer into a buyer. Specific content will get you more buyers than broad content. Broad content will get you more views, but once again, views do not equals conversion. The biggest mistake creators are facing is that they think YouTube growth is the same as monetization, as I mentioned earlier. YouTube growth simply means more subscribers and more views. But as we've discussed now, views don't make you money. What makes you money is speaking to people directly, filtering out your video to fit the right people so that the right people click on your videos. I've worked with a creator who has 100,000 subscribers, and before working with us, they made $0 per month from their YouTube, but they were averaging 100,000 views per video with 100,000 subscribers. So a great channel for growth, but not a great channel for monetization. Then we worked with another channel who had 10,000 subscribers, and before even working with us, they were already bringing in $30,000 per month from their videos, which averaged 400 to 800 views. This alone shows you should not be focusing on YouTube growth. You should just be focusing on filtering out your videos to reach the right people so you can build that leadership and build that authority to get that conversion. Your viewers want you to tell them the reason they're stuck. They don't want you to be nice. So go all out. Tell them what you have to tell them, just like I'm doing in this video, and they're gonna know, like, and trust you. And the best thing about YouTube is that when someone watches over 20 minutes of your video, they're already gonna have a sense of trust for you, rather than short form content, which takes a lot longer to build that authority and that trust with the viewer. If you've got a pen and paper, make sure you write this one thing down. You want to disrupt the viewer's current thinking. You want to create moments of tension. You want to surface uncomfortable truths. Not to scare your viewers away, but to wake them up, because people don't change when they feel comfortable. They change when they feel clarity paired with urgency. And until your content creates that combination, you will continue to get those views without leverage. The shift that most creators have to make is realizing that YouTube isn't like any other content platform. It's a decision-making environment. People go onto YouTube to solve their problems. Of course, when it comes to the entertainment space, people just go to watch videos to escape from their reality. But when it comes to business space, coaching space, and trying to sign clients from YouTube, all you should care about about is answering your ICP's most asked questions. So like I say in every video, your top of funnel should be how-to videos, which is your top 12 most asked questions from your ICP. That's how you get the ideation for your video. Once you have that list of 12, make 12 videos from the top to bottom answering those questions. Make sure your video is over 10 minutes long, but under 30 minutes long. Then for middle of funnel, create why videos. The goal of this is to build authority and to get the viewer to think to themselves, this is the person I want to learn from. Bottom of funnel, you want to make client interviews. So success stories with your clients that you've worked with before and got a good result for them. And then finally, the mega course, which is a 1 to 2 hour give it all away video, which is going to be the main thing that turns viewers into buyers. Now, like I said earlier, obviously doing a 1 to 2 hour video, scripting it, editing it, doing the titles, the description, thumbnails may take a long time. So if you need help with that, once again, watch the 5-minute video down below. Something to keep in mind is that when your viewer comes on your video, they're not looking for excitement or entertainment. They're looking for certainty, and they're looking for someone that can articulate their problem better than they can. They're looking for someone that doesn't rush to sell to them. Someone who explains the mechanics calm and logically. Someone who doesn't rely on fear or urgency. And if your content feels rushed or overly enthusiastic, the viewer will be pushed away. It actually reduces trust instead of increasing it. Clarity converts better than charisma. This is why the best long-form creators speak slowly, calmly, and articulate themselves better than the rest. They build understanding rather than chasing engagement. Another subtle issue is that many creators talk about issues without anchoring them into reality. They describe what should happen, but not why it hasn't worked before. They talk about systems, consistency, discipline, mindset, without acknowledging the true constraints that the viewer is under, which is time, energy, attention, and responsibility. People invest in practical clarity, not abstract ideas. And something to keep in mind is that the more sophisticated your viewers are, the more grounded your content needs to be. At this stage, the difference between a creator that makes it on YouTube and a creator that doesn't comes down to this, which is whether they're willing to stop using YouTube as a mirror and to start using it as a map. Most creators use YouTube as a mirror. They post, then they look at the numbers to see how they feel about themselves. If the views are high, then they feel good. If the views are low, then they feel discouraged. Their emotions rise and fall just from the analytics. And because of that, their strategy constantly changes. They react instead of build. But creators who convert use YouTube as a map. They already know where they're trying to take the viewer before they even hit record. They know what belief needs to change. They know what misconception needs to be dismantled. They know what problem needs to become obvious. And they know what decision they want the viewer to finally feel ready to take. And because of that, their content feels purposeful. Even when a video underperforms, it still plays a role. And that is the key. It still moves the right people closer. So if there's one thing I want you to walk away with, it's this. Your content isn't failing because you're bad at YouTube. And it isn't failing because YouTube is saturated or broken. It's failing because your channel was never designed to convert in the first place. Most people build content to be watched rather than to be trusted. They build videos to perform separately rather than to act as a whole system. And when you do that, views become random, growth becomes inconsistent, and monetization feels impossible even when the attention is there. What actually works is treating YouTube like a long-term asset. Invest in it. Take your time with it. Plan it out thoroughly. Make sure your videos all play a part of a larger system. When you do that, everything starts to make sense. Views stop being metrics and start becoming signals. Watch time stops being something that you chase and starts being something that you earn. And conversion stops feeling like selling and starts feeling like the natural next step for the viewer to take. You don't need to post more, you don't need to reinvent yourself, and you don't need to become louder, flashier, or more entertaining. Once that alignment is there, YouTube stops being confusing and it will start working for you. And remember this, predictable systems are the only ones that compound.